So I should proceed. So today, last session, we talked about the hidden causes of home ownership. So today we progress a little bit further. We build on what we had last week, and then we move on. So a lot of people nowadays are saying, well, I'm very comfortable in my own place right now. So why should I move? And how do I know when is it time for me to move on to my next house? And there's so much trouble involved in moving here and there. Why am I going through all the hassle to move house? So what's in it for me? And of course, the last one will be now the market is so hot, but nobody is offering the price that I want. So don't reach the price that I want, don't sell lah. So I think a lot of us on the ground are seeing this kind of concerns. So definitely they're not wrong. Not wrong for people to think that way. I think it's only really normal human nature. After all, moving house is not a small affair. There's a lot of things to be taken care of. You need to take care of all the logistical part. On top of that, you still got to change your address. A lot of things to arrange, or the contracts of your broadband, you need a break. Wow, a lot of hassle. So what are the things that is in need for owners, such that they will be motivated to move house lah. It's not that we want them to move house for the sake of moving house. People will think that agents will tell us everyone wants to move house because then you all got business but that's not really the case because at the end of the day, if it's just a transactional base, then pretty much our job on the ground will be meaningless. Okay, why are we doing this? Because you see the meaning behind it. You see people, those who make the right move, those who take that step to progress and then move on in their property journey. They realize that over the years, maybe 1 or 2 decades later, when they look back, then they'll realize that all their labor, all the hassle here and there, all the risks that they take was worth it Because ultimately, we are talking about almost $1 million and above asset nowadays, when property are getting more and more expensive. So let's progress. When should we consider moving on? Okay, a few options. Some of the keys are not limited to all this only but some of the common ones would be upgrading our lifestyle. We have people wanting to shift into the condo, want to upgrade from their current BTO flat to EC or even a condo. Okay, that's also normal, because people are saying I got clients telling me, I see a swimming pool opposite, but I cannot use that. So I feel very good because I see, but I cannot use, but people can use so I want to upgrade my lifestyle. The other one would be personal reasons. You want to shift place here from here and there, not just maybe to condo, maybe from HDB to HDB, because you want to shift nearer towards your kid's school. Because maybe you manage to get into a school that is prestigious, and you want to cut out on the traveling time, which is normal for a lot of parents nowadays. Also, push factor, things like disputes with neighbors, structural issues, like a house is getting too old, the 30-40-year-old flats, you have pipe bursting, you have all kinds of structural issues. And then for those that are a little bit more financially savvy, they realize that their home values for certain HDB, or rather most of the HDB flats, are stagnating. So it's kind of past its prime, where it is where most of us the prime price or age will be upon till the MOP period, which is the 5-year mark after you got your keys, first got a key from the HDB. It's a little bit different. It's definitely totally different from the market last time, where you buy whatever you buy can make money. Now it's a very different environment. It doesn't mean that you buy into a nice place. An example, Pinnacle, you buy now doesn't mean next time it's gonna build. Even though there's a lot of news spreading that Pinnacle is getting higher and higher, but does that mean that it's a good investment to buy into? That one we don't know. Okay, the last one of course will be about wealth building You see wealth building, you see a lot of people going on telling you about asset progression. So what is it about asset progression? So everyone is talking about asset progression. So what is it really about? Okay, let's move on. And one of the most common concerns that we see on the market is, I'm very comfortable, or why should I move? When you have this kind of thinking, okay, let's see Okay, when you are, let me just try out. Okay, let's say a normal property price lah, okay, this one is your price, and then this one is time. But let's say your property, despite the lease decreasing, like a normal HDB, and then the price is stagnating, pretty much stagnating. So does it mean that you're not losing money? Okay, from last session, we learned about certain causes such as your loan interest, which is money given to the bank for giving you that loan, which will never come back to you. The other one will be your accrued interest, which is in some cases disputable because some people say it's still my money, mom. Yes, it is correct, it's still your money. But if you put that money inside CPF and let the government work that money for you at 2.5% OA, then wouldn't that be money that was supposed to be given to you, but because your property is not appreciating? So because if it is not appreciating, it's stagnating. So isn't it foregoing that 2.5%? Okay. And then for HDB, a little bit different. Like you have town council, your town council fee is negligible, maybe about $60-$80 a month. Or of course, you also have parking, parking maybe about $100. So about 100 plus $200. Because we compare to condo we have maintenance fee, all this. Okay, so these are the running costs. So at the end of the day, does it mean that after 10 years, does it mean that we are not losing money at all? Okay, I think we shall not waste too much time on this because we touched on it last lesson. Okay, the last session. So running loan interest and other hidden causes, like I mentioned just now. Also, accrued interest. So like I said, this is disputable. Some people say, yes, it's my money. Some people say it could have been money that was given to me by the government. At the end of the day, we just need to look back. If your property stays stagnant, do you have enough assets overall to back your retirement? Because ultimately, I think nowadays, a lot of us, yes, you can say that the wages are increasing. But one thing is, despite the wages are increasing, a lot of us are still worrying about this word, retirement. And unfortunately, not a lot of us are planning this properly. Okay, so now I believe everyone, all the agents, consultant, everyone is telling you, oh, must sell. So what is the only instance that maybe you should consider not selling? If your property price chart over the past 10 years behaves like this, behave like this chart over here, it goes up like this, then I would say, okay, never mind, you don't sell. You just hold on to it. Because your property is working hard for you, You see, if over the past 5 years, it has increased on an average from around 1100 PSF to about maybe on average around 1300 PSF. So 200 PSF, if you look at a 1,000 square feet unit, we are looking at $200,000 increase in value just by staying in it. So isn't it already appreciating for you? If your property trend is like this, then by all means don't sell. Just stay there. Okay, this is the only instance, this is the only case where you should just stay, ignore all the market noise, just stay. But how do we spot this property? There's a lot of factors, and then we will save that for next time. There's a lot of complicated factors, definitely. And now a lot of people on the ground are saying, you see, recently the price index of HDB resale flats are going very high, it's going high, so if it's going like this, so what are the chances of it going down? Unlikely, right? So I should just hold, because the longer I hold, the further it will get, not wrong, because we don't know. We do not know whether the government, what's their next step. Ultimately, they do not want a price trend like this, because if the trend is going up like this at this rate, isn't it similar to what they did over here? And if it's similar to this rate, shouldn't don't you think they are going to plan something to stop the property trend going like this? Because in between here they implement more than 10 cooling measures. Why? Because all they want to do is to slow down the market. The market is going faster than our economic fundamentals. So that is going to be a cause of concern. Ultimately, we do not want to end up like Hong Kong, where people really don't even want to buy their own property. I just read a news article. I think Anita Yuan and her husband, they are renting a 28K 28K I think USD per month property renting 28K per month they would rather rent than to buy because they say if they rent it can if they use the same amount of money to buy versus if they rent they can rent the same property for 130 years so why should they buy? There's no reason for them to buy you see how they can the cost this one is the cost to buy, whereas they only rent 28K a month to rent. And if the cost to buy can cover them for 130 years, why should they why should they buy? There's no reason for them to buy and ultimately we do not want this to happen to Singapore Therefore in looking at this trend, I think not say I think or rather pretty much it's pretty obvious that government is going to do something about this. Okay. And why is this so going up like this? It doesn't mean that all the Singapore resale flats are going up so high. It does not mean that. It doesn't really mean that. Okay, if you look at this in Punggol, right? Nowadays, last time Punggol, what in Chinese what we call 鸟不生蛋. That means nobody wants to go there. But now Punggol, you see Punggol, all the Punggol 5-room flat, on average they're selling at 600 plus, and then you're hitting, some of them are hitting 700, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them hitting 700 and above for Punggol 5-room flat. So in this case if you look at it right, this whole bunch of, I think most of them are actually pretty much almost newly MOP within this 1 to 2 years around there. So all these are slowly dragging up the pattern, dragging up the price trend. Whereas the older property, yes, they do appreciate, but they don't appreciate as like a 100K, 200K like last time. They maybe go up maybe about 10 to 20K. So okay, later I will show you an example some other places If you look at the older ones like 173A Punggol Field, right? Last time when they nearing their MOP last time they hit around 500 plus, okay, 500 plus K for 5-room. Then over the years because of all the cooling measures, it dropped until about 400 plus, low 400, almost 300K. Some of them even 390, but this one is very low floor And then only April this year or rather last month it managed to climb back to about 465K. Okay, so the owner waited about almost 9 years to only make back or actually sold for about 100K lower waited 9 years. So we on the ground we see quite a lot of owners are telling us, we should just hold because Punggol a lot of transformation Punggol digital district that kind of thing yes, we have a lot of development, but the thing is if you look at the past 10 years, right, Punggol actually made a lot of progress. There's a lot of development in Punggol. There's a lot of progress. So how come Punggol flats still drop? How come 500 didn't go to 600, 700K? How come it actually dropped? Because you have a lot of supply in the area. And then for those who recently MOP, are there even more supply coming up? And if there are even more supplies coming up, isn't it going to be the same case over again? What we see in 173 happening to those that are hitting MOP right now, because they are still building and if they are still building, maybe about the next 8 to 10 years, doesn't mean that your next 8 to 10 years your property prices can be quite vulnerable, because those guys are going to be even newer than you and they are probably going to sell higher than you, and the only way to hook them back to your unit is to how? Lower the price Okay. So in this case, some owners are telling us, if it doesn't hit my expected price, don't sell. Yes, okay, but is your price realistic? If it's not realistic and you're just trying to, or that time we had one owner, we went to them, hey, they say, hey, yes, I want to sell it. They say, oh, how come? They say, oh, you got $1 million for my 5-room bungalow, then I sell. No? We might as well don't sell. How is it possible somebody is going to offer for 5-room? Maybe if yours is a loft, you will need those very special one, then got chance lah. But 1 million for 5-room, unrealistic lah. Okay, this kind don't we didn't bother to spend more time on it lah. So in this case, we see 9 years to get back. In this case, 173, 9 years to get back close to previous level because we got 1520 ma. So I got read around there. And over these 9 years, how much is the loan interest and how much is the accrued interest? And your OA accrued interest every single year is 2.5% eaten up based on whatever you use. So let's say maybe you use about 300K for CPF. How much will it be? Okay, if we take a look at this 300K, okay, 300K times 102.5%. So over the past 9 years, right? So 1 year, 2 year, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. 9 years we have 74K that could have been given to you by the government. So this one is 74K accrued interest. And then how much is the loan interest? Depending on how much loan you take, ma. So I think in this case, it will be easily maybe about 30 to 40K. So all these are on top of the net capital loss over here, which is negative 100K. So over here you have 100K, and then the other side you also have 100K. You add up, isn't it about 200K loss? Okay, this may be something for you to think about. Okay, next we have people saying, oh, you know, condo lifestyle is expensive. So for the next 10 years of my life, I'm not going to choose a condo. I'm going to choose a 5-room HDB flat because you see these guys transacting Sumang at 700 plus ma. Okay, so assuming these guys they pick the 5-room Sumang HDB, and then they take a 90-year HDB loan at 2.6 per annum. Their monthly installment is 2.8. So why do I dig out this? Because like I said, this one is the running cost of ownership. So you have 1,003. You also have town council and parking, which add up together about 200. So this one is the actual running cost of owning the flat, ma. About 1565. Appreciation potential. We don't talk about losing money lah. We look at the good case scenario lah, because based on this one, we can see that over the next 10 years, it's pretty unlikely that the HDB will make money. Therefore, we look at a good case scenario lah, where we don't talk about lose money, we just say break even. Okay, just break even. So this one is your running cost. But if that guy chooses a condo, chooses the right condo that can make a 20% projected, later I'll show you whether is it possible or not. Some people say, why you so optimistic you can say 20% lah. Okay, later we will show you hard data. Okay, so condo price, we look at a $1 million condo and we take 75% ma. Nowadays the bank loan are 1.2, but we don't take 1.2 so low, we take 1.5. Workout installment, there's about 2588. You see, compared to this one, actually the installment is cheaper, right? To even stay in a condo, right? Whereas loan interest, instead of 1,003, it is only 900 plus because of the lower interest rate. And also maintenance, I got around 250 for a relatively smaller one lah. Maybe you want to add in 300 also can. Even if add in 300, it will be running cost will be 1,237 ma. Okay, so in the first place, you see running cost the difference in running cost for a condo is already lesser than 300. Remember, running cost, that means money that you won't get back even if you sell back the property at the same price. Okay, you buy and sell at the same price. All right. So on top of that, by owning the condo, you are losing lesser money. On top of that, you still have this projected 20%, which is 200K. I mean, yeah, 200K. So isn't that the net gain for making, you see, that's why I put here a right condo. It doesn't mean any condo you can buy. I think you need to do due diligence and go and find out more. Go and speak to your consultant, whichever you can trust to show you the data, and then be convinced about whether the condo that you're going to choose is the right one. So you say, oh, every time you just dig up Punggol ma, but what about hot mature area there? Mature area won't lose money ma. Okay, yes, they won't lose as much money, but doesn't mean that they are going to make a lot of money. If we zoom in, oh no, oops, my bad. Okay, cannot zoom. Oops. So if we take a look, I say on the screen looks a little bit blur. Back in 2015, this owner in the Queenstown block 662B the flat is not very old. It's only barely about 10 years now. Now only about 10 years. So upon upon MOP, they sold around 770. And then for those of them who didn't sell, they hang on. They hope that their property could go up. But over the next few years, it doesn't seem like it has gone up. It has dropped to maybe about as low as 500 plus K. Okay, and then recently the market heat up again. He managed to climb back. You can say, oh wow, but he made additional about $13,000 ma. All right, but over the how many years around here is about almost about 6 years. Almost over 6 years your accrued interest and your loan interest, so over 6 years, they add up together. Is it worth about 13K only? Is it more than 13K or less than 13K? Okay, I think we shall not spend too much time on this. I think we pretty much know the answer. Okay, if that owner, if this owner, let's say in this case, this owner sold their flat at 2015, and then they went into the right property. For example, in this case, this condo in Fernvale, and then we compare. I said, because just now we said use a $1 million condo example ma. So I don't use too big. I use about this one, which is about 980 square feet. They bought in at, you see, 2015 ma, but they purchased at 8820 ma. So unlikely their purchase price is over $1 million, but we just take into account in this sense, they over 5 years, right? Over this holding period of 5 years, because they sold at 2020 ma, they made 300 plus K, and then they made a total percentage was 41%. How do I derive this 41%? This 1246 divided by 82. Okay, divide by 82, and then you have 41%. 41% gain. Okay, because we are talking about some people telling us you can gain 20%, man. Okay? You must, of course, you cannot say, oh, I want the swimming pool view, I want the highest floor, I want this, I want that. You have to be very wise with your decision, look at the cost very carefully of the respective unit, and then decide your risks and your benefits, potential benefits. The next one will be this Ulu Ang Mo Kio. Later I'll show you which one. Same thing, also around 1 million range. They purchased 1217 PSF and then about 775 only ma. Because like I said, same thing, we are looking at $1 million purchase. This one divided by this one you get 27.2%. So I think us taking a 20% profit estimation is pretty much modest Okay, they made 200 plus K in a span of around 5 to 6 years, around there. Actually, I think they would have made more but let's not dive in too much So in this case, we have owners telling us hey, my co-location is better. got near MRT that kind of thing my location is the best Wow, there's a lot of I think in this line we have a lot of people always. I think let's just be clear lah. Most of the homeowners are very home proud. They will feel that, oh, my house is the best the other people's house is not the best then that is not even near as good as mine But sometimes I also feel like wow, I'm gonna sell my house soon. So I feel like wow, my house is better than my neighbor So confirm fetch higher price I think it's only normal human nature because you appreciate your own house But whether the actual buyers appreciate your house more than your neighbors, then we don't know. Okay, so in this case, we look at the curious case of 3 condos. Here we have central residence, which is just right in front of Ang Mo Kio MRT. And then we have Grandeur 8 over here, which is also quite old. I think still walkable to MRT still walkable quite a long walk But definitely this one the A and B, and then the last one is Panorama C. In this case, we look at this one as C. So we have A, and then we have B, and then we have C. I think we can agree that C is the one with the worst location because we don't look at Mayflower yet. Some people say, oh, Mayflower coming up Mayflower hasn't even up yet So in terms of location, C is pretty much the worst out of these three in Ang Mo Kio. So how those who say who stay in central and then they feel that my property is the best location, that one I cannot disagree. Yes, the location is better because of the MRT. So let's look at the price pattern for the central residences, a blue line and then the Grandeur 8 is red line so we look at these two first. We look at the past about 7 years, the price trend for this Grandeur 8 quite stagnant. Okay, resale condo stagnant. You see, even condo also stagnant so doesn't mean all condos can buy And then the next one will be central residences, also pretty much stagnant. Okay, how come like this? We'll save it for another day. Too much to elaborate. But you see this one is A this one is development A, this one is development B and development C is the one with the worst location. But how come C managed to, if let's say you buy 2015 around here just now the owner exit around mid of 2015 so 2015 you exit and then you got in at this location it would have went up by 28%. Whereas the other two stagnate so that means pretty much they didn't make money. This one made 0%, this one made 0%, this one plus 28%. Okay, similarly for those of them who are, let's say, a central residence, any of the central residences and the race Grandeur, let's say they exit here and then they spend some time all the computer, everything, they give them the money, and then they went into Panorama at this point, wouldn't they have made more money even though the location is so-called supposedly worse? Right, they would have made 28%. And if you look at $1 million property, 28% is not small it's not a small sum it's $280,000. Isn't that quite some money? How long will it take us to save up that $280,000? Okay, let's make some calculations let's say a normal worker okay, normal employee which makes about 5K a month, and then we want to after expenses you manage to save about 2K. Right, if you save 2K a month, how long will it take for you to save $280,000? So that will take you about $280,000, you divide by 2,000, that will take you about 140 months to save this amount of money. And how long will that be? This will be about more than 11 years. And these 11 years of saving could have been mitigated by making the right choice. Okay, in this case, even though the so-called yes, the location is, in some cases people say shittier, but it's making money. So why not? If it's me, if I want, whether I want to move for the hassle for $280,000, if you ask me, I should move. What for? I want to work. I won't work 11 years for this. Then again, we move on to the next one. People are saying, if I sell already, then I stay where? I stay with two options generally. You have the first one, you stay with parents, lor. Right? If you can stay with parents, if you can stay with your parents, of course they will be happy lah. Then again, you might want to, depends lah. I think quite a lot of factors lah. Some people comfortable with staying with parents because they can take care of the kids, which is totally most of the case lah. But some people say they want privacy. So whichever it is, if you can stay with your parents, you will save a lot of money. Because yes, you still have to give them extra allowance, but it will definitely be cheaper than rental mah. And then the next one will be the what people are afraid of the most lah. People say, why should I rent? Crazy why should I throw the money away? So typical concern, why should I rent? Why throw the money away? That was what I used to think last time, until you work out the calculations. So let's take a look at this condo in Lorong Chuan called the Scala. Okay, for a three-bedder, to stay there, if you rent, right, it can range anywhere from 3,008 to 3,3330 in the recent months lah, February lah. So we just take the average shot, maybe about 3,005. Okay, I got 3,005 per month lah. Then to stay here in this condo, instead of renting, then you will say, most of people will say, if I want to stay there, then I might as well buy ma. Okay, not wrong. So let's see how much. If you want to buy the same, you see same size ma. Recently January transacted, you will buy about $1.558 million. Okay, but if I rent, I will rent at 3,005. 3,005 a month, a lot of money. Okay, so let's compare the causes. If I want to buy the Scala and I plus the renovation, this will be the numbers. So let's take a quick run through. I buy at this price, I take 75% loan, I take around 2.0 per annum. Okay, because next time you need to factor in the long term, because if you're going to stay there, it's going to be a long term thing. So 2.0 on average lah, because now it's low, next time it's going to be high, we don't know. Based on 2.0, this will be 4.3K. And then loan interest will be 1.9. We have maintenance and property tax add up maybe about $450 per month. And so net monthly cost of staying at this property will be $2,397. This one is what we call running costs. So money that will never come back to you. Okay, never back to you. Okay, never. It's not going to come back to you, because this one goes to the bank, this one goes to the maintenance and the property tax, which is the government, and also the renovation, because the renovation is not going to come back unless next time you can sell higher, but we don't know because of the leasehold nature of the condo. Now, on the other hand, if we choose the rental route and then you choose to invest in the right condominium, example, let's say you want to buy into a correct new launch, doesn't mean a new condo is always profitable. But let's say you buy into the right one, there's a lot of factors to factor in. But let's say you buy into the right one, you invest, but in the meantime, while you're waiting for it to build, you rent for 3 years. Your rental is 3,005 a month. So net monthly loss versus buying in this case because 3,005 minus this one will be a net loss of 1,001 every single month okay, 3,005 minus 2,397 will be a net loss of 1,103. So in 3 years, we are waiting for the property to build up. My net loss is $39,000. Quite a lot of money, right? But the thing is, without even factoring this one, my renovation already cost me $50,000. So, but on the other hand, because I invest in the right one, doesn't mean anyone I can buy, because if we look at Scala's price trend, unfortunately I don't have the data, I don't have the chart now to show you, but next time maybe. If you look at the chart, it is pretty much stagnant over the past few years. So we assume that there is zero appreciation, because after all, it's still quite a age already this condo, almost about 10 years already. All right. And then if we get into the right one and we look at 20% profit, you're looking at $200,000 profit. So net difference between these two options will be 39K minus the 50K rental, and then I plus the 200K profit. So the difference of me buying and renting, buying the condo, resale condo, and then renting and investing in the right one will be 200K. Assuming I save $4,000, okay, $4,000 a month, I will have to save maybe about 50 months. Okay, around there, right? Yeah, correct. 50 months, I got around 50 months, which is about 4 years. I have to save 4 years to save this kind of money if I just make the right property move. So isn't this one of the indication that for those of us who are not staying in a property that is appreciating, shouldn't we consider taking the step to review our property portfolio? Okay. Yes, it's a lot of hassle on, definitely, but after all, if you look at the big money, is it worth the hassle? I think that one is up to you whether you want to slog it out, then keep working for the money, or you want to let your property work the money for you. That one, ultimately, there is no right or wrong answer. It's up to everyone's preference. Okay, the last part of today, at the end of the day, we look at these two things. We look at instant gratification or delayed gratification. So for those of us who say, hey, I want to stay in my own property, I don't want to rent in other people's property, so I just want to buy wherever I want to stay. Okay, in this case, let's say you invested your $1.5 million condo, you buy a $1.5 million condo, and then after at age 65, assuming it still stays at 1.5, pretty unlikely for a leasehold property, but assuming you stay, so that means your net gain will be $0, right? So I mean, you're only depending on your own savings, whether these savings can help you towards your retirement. That one we have no idea, because different people have the different saving power. Okay, is it enough? Whereas if you delay your gratification, okay, you bite the bullet and say, yes, I understand that I shouldn't be buying wherever I want to stay as of right now, maybe eventually, but not yet. So maybe the first 3 to 5 years, so let's say age 40, okay, in between I make 200K, because I make the right choice, I make 200K, and based with this 200K, I can invest in a larger property of a higher price quantum the next round, so I can afford to make more, and then the next one, another 3 to 5 years, let's say 5 years, at age 45, I make instead about 350K, because the larger amount that I can invest in, and on top of that, after that, I make another move again to age 50, and then I say, okay, enough. After sacrificing for the next 15 years of my life, I think I have made enough. So the last round, I made 500K. And then the next 15 years, I start to enjoy. I buy, let's say, I buy back the same Scala condo that I want to rent, that is right in front of MRT. So totally convenient for me. I buy back this $1.5 million versus the instant gratification. How much difference would have been? Okay, if I add up this 200K plus 350K plus 500K, this will be a total of about 1.05 million, right? So if you look at this, this is 105000 extra for you to retire. Okay, it may or may not be enough for us to retire, but depending on our lifestyle. But I think $1 million extra in our pockets is definitely something that a lot of us will want to seriously consider having lah, considering given that inflation is going so fast in our market today, in our economy lah. So it is definitely, if you want to rely on our savings, and worse still, if our savings is still just sitting in a bank and not doing much other than to absorb that 0.05% per annum, then this may be something for us to think about. Okay, I think yep, if not, then that is all we have today. I think at the end of the day, what we need to really consider is that do we want to enjoy whatever you want to enjoy and then suffer when it comes to age 65, or we want to take steps to not enjoy so much right now and then have a little bit of discontent lah. In this case, you say, I'm not staying in the property. I'm not buying the property that I'm staying in, so not shiok ma. So whether you want to tahan that kind of feeling and then eventually have a good retirement, I think it's up to individual preference lah. At the end of the day, which one is better for you? Is it instant gratification or is it a delayed gratification? All right. If not, then that is the end of today's session. I hope you have learned something. And if you have any questions or anything, then just drop me a text anytime, or even comment to talk about maybe which topic you want me to touch on for our next session. Okay, I think that's all. So that's all, folks, for today. Old school Bugs Bunny. All right, see y'all. Bye bye.